So we have an amazing group of A&R panelists today. And the first A&R that I'm going to introduce is Steve Carless. So Steve is currently the Senior Vice President of A&R and Artist Relations at Def Jam. And through his work as an A&R, artist manager, entrepreneur, including co-founding the Marathon Agency, he's worked with artists such as Pharrell, YG, Beyonce, and Nipsey Hussle. Our next A&R is Zoe Alicia. Originally from Jamaica. Yes. Zoe is Vice President of A&R at Epic Records. And she got her start in the business in Miami at the early age of 19, working with prolific hitmaker Scott Storch and his manager Derek Jackson. Zoe's worked with artists such as Trina, Casey Veggies, Bay Swag, Black Youngster, and she's most known for working with French Montana from the very start of his career. Give it up for Zoe. Our next A&R is Kifa Black. Kifa is an LA native and an A&R at Atlantic. Although Kifa has started fairly recently as an A&R at a label, he's been around the music business his whole life. Kifa was actually featured in a skit with Dr. Dre, as his son, and appeared on one of the Death Row compilations when he was just 5 years old. Kifa brings a unique perspective as an A&R, starting off as a recording artist and as an A&R executive, and most notably, he's worked with Roddy Ricch. Give it up for Kifa. Our next A&R is 2O Clark, a Chicago native. Tuo Clark is Senior Vice President of A&R at Def Jam, and he's part of the 7-time Grammy-nominated producer team, The Interns, producing such hits as Anaconda by Nicki Minaj, Ass by Big Sean, and Birthday Cake by Rihanna. Get up for Tuo. And our last A&R is Pusharod, my colleague at Interscope from LA. He's worked with artists such as Aaron Ray, Mitch, Jay Critch, Moneybagg Yo, to name just a few. And he got his start in this business working with Mustard and YG. He's also an entrepreneur, and he has a gaming app that y'all should check out. So give it up for Pusharod. So our A&R panel is called Shaping a Superstar, and I want to open it up to the group with an opening question. And the question is, what initially attracted you to working as an A&R? And at what point did you realize you had an ear or an eye for talent?
Hey, Nicole, before you get started, I just want to make sure, like, y'all in here? Y'all in here with us? That's it. I don't want to make sure we wasting our time. We about to deliver some shit, all right? That's it.
They're about to drop some gems, so I hope everybody's taking notes.
I'm just saying, all right?
So Tua, why don't you start it off? What attracted you to A&R?
Dang, it just happened. I want to say I've been on Def Jam for 2.5 years. Shout out to Deion Wilson, AKA No ID. It's nothing that I really wanted to do. I was just in the creative space. He told me to come in. He wanted to, have a conversation with me. I kind of pulled up at the office the same time Big Sean pulled up. He had the record with Drake, the Blessed record. And I just happened to pull up. I think I was coming to collect some money or something. And he pulled up. He had a meeting. I was like, yo, you here by yourself? He was like, yeah. I was like, word? He's like, come on, meeting with me. I said, hell no. I said, I ain't coming in your meeting with you. So I came in the meeting. Everybody was in there. I dapped everybody up. He played the record. And then afterwards, Dion was just like, yo, what's your attorney info? I wanted to send it over. And he offered me a consultant position before I actually came into the office. So it just actually just randomly happened. It's an act of God.
I mean, for me, I started off with YG and Mustard just as a homie. I like to call myself a professional homie because I used to be in the studio with Mustard and YG, just sitting there, just listening, just seeing what they doing. They asked me my opinion, I would give my opinion, and then they would say, but why? You don't fuck with this, but why? And I would always try to give my opinion and give an answer that made sense for them, why I thought they can do better, or YG can do better on his verse, or Mustard could use a different sound in the beat. And it went from that to my good friend Sycamore. He was actually YG's A&R on his first album, and we were in Atlanta working on YG's album, and I was bringing in producers, I was calling artists and people I knew in Atlanta, just trying to get them to come in to connect. And then Sycamore told me, like, Rod, you know what you do is A&R work? And I'm like, yeah? I just thought this what a real homie's supposed to do, like not be a yes man if you're around the artist and really give them your honest opinion. And then from there, I really just stabbed at it and tried to see what I can do. And shout out to Joey IE for giving me a chance, bringing me to Interscope 5 years ago. And the rest is history.
I started off doing radio promotions and marketing for Def Jam, touring with a bunch of artists, Jeezy, Rick Ross, Big Sean, and just being so close in an intimate space with them for so long, it just became, second nature to help them pick and choose records, and that's how I eventually evolved in A&R.
What about you, Zoe?
So I started off working out with a really amazing producer. His name is Scott Storch. And as I sat in his studio sessions every day, I just started putting things together. I met artists, I connected them with other producers, I met writers, I put records together. And then I just started realizing there are other people that are coming here and they're getting paid for this. And I'm literally doing the same exact thing. So I realized I need to figure out this A&R thing. This is for me, this is my calling. This is exactly what I'm doing for free right now. So.
And Kifa, what about you?
For myself, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, I had an early upbringing in the music. My dad, when I was born, he was already A&R in at Death Row. So I was kind of like born right into that. So like, I didn't have a babysitter as a kid. So growing up, he didn't go to the office until he picked me up from school, and I was in the office every day. So it was like, I was just naturally and organically around all of these sessions, like in the late 90s, just watching this as a kid. So it was all I knew. So as I got older, like what I seen as a kid was what I wanted to continue to pursue. So, I tried to like find myself through music, through me like rapping, but just as a hobby, but always knew I wanted to get back to a position to give artists a platform because, like, as you know, like the people behind the scenes are really the ones that, help it come to fruition. So it's like, it's cool to be on the camera, but like, I'd rather just be in a position to like, hear the music, put people in place. So.
Oh. So, Tua, I want to open this question to you. Especially with your background as a producer, how do you think that's impacted you as an A&R and knowing kind of what we talk about as like the it factor in finding an artist and picking a song?
Rule number 101, it starts with the creativity. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a product, you don't have nothing. So coming into the label, just, not being privy to how things are ran and operations and what every department do, it's just, as a mind of a creative, is just coming in and saying like, I know we gotta have something first. So that's my first rule of thumb. If I don't have shit, we have nothing to work, So my mind is always saying, like, it starts with the product first. If you can't create the product, you don't have nothing else. And I just want to say, like, to people, man, like, you guys always remember that. I understand everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants to get on a label. But it's just like, yo, y'all keep the lights on, yo. So when you're trying to sell your product and sell to get these deals, remember, it starts with y'all first. Don't get too caught up in just want to get a record deal and be signed to somebody. Like, it starts with the product first.
That's great advice. So, Kifa, I have an interesting question for you.
Let's go.
So, I think one of the challenges for A&Rs is your calling card with getting an artist signed, convincing your label to sign an artist is frequently what your track record was before. So you managed to get an artist signed as an intern when you first started off at Atlantic. So especially for the people in the room here today, can you kind of walk us through how you managed to convince your label team to get on board with your artist? And did you realize at that time that he was going to be so successful?
I mean, at the time, I mean, I'm born and raised in LA. Like, Roddy's from Compton, so the music was real close to me, you know. But for me, what it was I was just able to go through the catalog that he had out and listen to it front to back, and really just like you it's a certain level of, like, not always pain, but also like a message behind the music, you know. And it's like, with the music early on, it was just, I felt it, you know. And I was like, I just feel like if you're passionate enough about anything and you're around the right people who believe in you, they will give you an opportunity if you're passionate about it, you know? And it's like, you'll know if somebody's got one foot in the door, one foot out. But like, ultimately, like, it was just something that I truly believed in. And I mean, for us, like, being from LA to West Coast, like, it didn't sound like anything that was from here at the time either, you know? But the message was still so clear and relatable to what we grew up in our circumstances. So it was just something that I believed in, and I was able to get a chance, you know. It was a chance. Like, at the time, he had 4,000 followers at the time, you know. This was last January, so it was like, it was high risk, low reward for the label, you know. Because if it flopped, then it's just like, well, we gave you a chance, you know. But if it goes, then everybody benefits from it, you know. So again, it was a passion project for me. Like, I would, like, with me signing artists, I would never sign an artist that I couldn't fully commit and give my time to. And I feel like that's one of the most important things with being an A&R, is putting the time in, you know. Anybody can send beats to an artist, but like, how involved are you in seeing their thought process and the record making and everything? You know, just like Rod said, you know, being in the studio and just soaking everything in. So just after the first couple of sessions, you know, I felt the energy, and it was something I was willing to, you know, put my internship on the line for. You know, if it didn't work, you know, that could have been the end of it, you know. But, you know, we were all on the same page, and, you know, it was God willing.
Have you all had to, at some point, kind of put your job on the line for an artist that you believed in?
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe, like, if you're not willing to risk it all, you don't really believe in that artist. Like, because any artist I sign, like, they know I might not know everything, but my job is to fight for them and to make sure that their message get across in meetings that they're not in, to different departments across the board. Like, there's so many different departments at a label that people don't really understand or realize, and you need to make sure that every one of those departments understands the message that the artist is trying to put out.
Yeah, that's very, very useful and great advice for everyone out there. Steve, a question for you. So you worked with the late, great Nipsey Hussle for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. Yes, everyone, please clap for that. How did your early connections in the business lead to your connection with Nipsey, and what were some of the things that you both learned from one another over the years?
I mean, the first thing which really connected us was, I think it was mentality about understanding the business of music and taking that business and understanding every aspect of it was very, very important to him. So our connection started as more of me disclosing to him insider information about how checks and balances and processes of a record company kind of dictate success for an artist. And he was really interested into that. And his playback to me was, what was important was he wanted to maintain creative control, ownership, and he wanted to build an enterprise to hopefully one day to be vertically integrated in his own system and infrastructure. So our connection became on that because that premise and that thought and that understanding of artists that wanted that for themselves bonded us in such a way where it became me as a mentor, him as a teacher, and then reversed as him as a mentor to me, and me being a student. So understanding, being a creative person, all of us up here are creative people, but not as creative as the artist. They create the art. We just help curate it. Like on my Instagram page, I call myself the art dealer because I make deals on art. You know what I mean? So for us, what connected us and what really built us to this place and what made him special is he really cared about what was important to the business that he was actually participating in. And my skill set and my experience lent him a level of information that he couldn't get from just hustling out in the street and moving around and having the success that he was having the way he was doing it. So from then to now, I would just say that was very important to us as a collective and still important to me now because I see what the information has benefited from. One, him as an individual icon, one for myself as like a growing entrepreneur and executive, but also as a mentor and leader to everybody out there to be able to understand that it's important for us to share information so that way we can understand the business that we're working in hopes that we can all do something that, replicates what we want out of it.
I read in an interview, and I was surprised I didn't know this because, we're great friends. We're actually, all of us on the panel are very close friends. We are all colleagues and we work together. But I read that Nicole Planton, from your early days with Star Trek and Pharrell, was also tied to the initial connection with Nipsey. And I just thought that was interesting how your relationships early on in your career continue to be important throughout. And that also is a calling card, just having integrity with those relationships because of what it leads to later on.
Absolutely. I mean, relationships and network is everything. Like Nicole is the one that hired me at Star Trek Entertainment when I first became an intern. So for her and I to move on, I moved on to Def Jam and she moved on to BMI at the time. She actually signed Nipsey to BMI as his publisher to basically, help him collect his royalties when he was out doing independent distribution. And it was so funny because I had met Nipsey right around the time he was on the XXL cover for the freshman class, and we connected, but was never able to connect back. But our communication and our bond was that we just lost connection. So once she told me, because I would check in with her periodically, what you doing, what you working on? And she's like, yeah, I'm working on Nipsey Hussle. And I said, oh, give me his number because this guy changed his phone number 8 times. I can't get in touch with him. I haven't been to LA in months and we need to get back together. And she actually put us back together. And once we got back together, we've been together ever since. So I just know that that's very important because it was someone like her who was so important to my growth and development into the business, came back again and connected me with, eventually became one of my best friends, business partners, and now iconic, global figure of all time.
So speaking of relationships, you built a long-term friendship and relationship, Zoe, with French Montana. And you worked with him from very early on in his career before he signed with Bad Boy, before he signed to Epic. Can you, for the audience, just explain a little bit of what drew you to French so early on before he had the hits like Unforgettable?
Well, one thing when you're A&R, I feel like the main part of my job is to see what your vision is, see what you love, see what you want, and make it bigger. But that also works both ways. So with French, I had all these ideas. I was very new. I just met him, and I was like, hey, French, this is a good idea. We should do this. This is a great producer. Let's go over here. Like, we had all these things, and French was so open to all my ideas. And he was one of the first people to really say, hey, all right, Z, let's go. Let's try it. Call him. Pull up. Let's pull up. We going here. We going there. And that's what really developed our relationship. It was him being open, was him giving me a chance. And then finally, when the tables were turned and I was in a position of power and I was like, yo, I work at Epic now. Let me sign you. Come over here. He believed in me. You know what I mean? Just like I believed in him in the beginning.
That's dope. Rod. So the roster of artists you work with, it's pretty balanced between hip hop and R&B acts. How do you decide when you're meeting with an artist if you want to sign an R&B act or a hip hop act? Like, how do you make that distinction, or does something draw you to one more than the other?
I mean, looking for an artist and looking for talent is not really matter to me that much if they're a rapper or if they sing or if they're a songwriter. It's more about what their vision is. Like, where do you want to see yourself going? Like, what type of artist do you want to be? Like, what is your goals? Like, if I can come in and I can help with your goals and your plans and take you somewhere, because I would never sign an artist just because you got a tight record. Like, that doesn't really mean anything for me, because after that record, then what? And then after that, then what? I look for talent who really understand themselves and the journey that it takes to build. Like, and I'm not looking for something that is microwave and happen overnight. Every artist that I've signed or every artist that I worked with really went through a development process. And I feel like that's what matters the most, is like signing an artist who understands their vision. And not just the vision for today, but where they plan on seeing themselves going. Like, oh, you want to get here? Okay, you might start off doing beats that you got off the internet, and you might only know one producer, but okay, now get in the studio with me. Let me put you in the studio with people who actually play instruments to help make the sound that you created by yourself even bigger. And that's like the most important thing to me.
Dope. So here's a question for the whole group. What do you think the biggest misconception is about being an A&R today? And do you think an A&R today in 2019 is different from what an A&R was many years ago?
Well, for me, I feel like a lot of people think when you're A&R, you just kind of go to the studio, you listen to music, you hang out, but it's so much more than that. For me, I try to spend just as much time as I do in the studio as I do in the office. Not only do we help find the producers and make the music, but there's also so much paperwork that goes along with it. You have to clear samples, you have to write the credits, you have to make sure the budget is there and we're not over budget. So for me, people just, think it's just so much fun and we go in the studio and we hang out, but really office time is really, really key to this job.
I think, go ahead. I think the biggest misconception is that people think that they can turn over a record to you at any given time and you can just take it and go get them signed. People give me demos and send me songs all the time, and I love it because you never know where you're gonna find the next thing at. But I think when people put so much focus in just trying to get music to us as opposed to building themselves out, it really is frustrating to me. Because it's just a misconception that for us to go take it and go tell a record company, a major establishment, that you're an artist that is worthy of being signed, record companies are trying to sign businesses. I mean, art is important, music is first, but when we're talking to them, they're like, okay, cool, what kind of business reaction are they having? Are they doing shows? Are their songs trending? What have they done? Where have they been? Or who are they connected to? What have they built for themselves that we can kind of take and amplify?
I think those are both really good points that I've noticed as well. People forget the business side of A&R, and they discount the fact that there's deals involved, as Zoe pointed out, paperwork, and that, as Steve pointed out, it's not just a quick, shake and bake process and then you're out and at radio. There's a whole lot more that people need to take the time to understand about the business.
Yeah, it's like you get a record. All right, someone comes up to me today and I want to sign them. and I sign, the first thing, just like Rod said, what's your goal? What's your vision? And it's like, oh, I want to be the biggest artist of all time. Well, I mean, great. That's a great thing to say, but how do we propose we get there? What do you have already set up for yourself that we can build out more on? If we do a deal, what type of deal do you want? Do you know the type of deals there are? Do you know how much money do you need? Do you know what you're deficient on? What do you have already? Do you have your own studio? Do you not have your own studio? All those things affect what type of business that you're going to do with any particular record company. So when I talk to artists, it's very difficult, but it's a diamond in the rough when you find someone that has great music and understand where they want to go, even if they don't have like a long-term vision, but they know what they're doing right now, and they have some sense of what type of business that they want to do and that they fit in right now. And that's very helpful to me because that tells me what I need to give them to help, amplify what they have.
Rod, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's for me is that a lot of artists really feel like, oh, you can just DM me a song and that means I'm gonna get you a deal. Or you're my friend, so because you're a friend of mine, I have to sign you. Like, those misconceptions, like, they get to me a lot because it's like, yo, just because you're my friend and I support you, that doesn't mean that me signing you is the right thing to do. Like, because there's a lot of artists that I might think are extremely talented and dope, but it might not fit for me. So if it doesn't fit for me signing you is not gonna do the just that you need.
And Rod, you just raised a really good point about bandwidth too with artists, that everyone doesn't always realize that sometimes you could be really talented, but if a label or an A&R doesn't have the bandwidth to take on another artist, their plate might be full.
Correct. I mean, it never works like you imagine it in the perfect world. Like, there's so many artists who I thought was dope. Then I had a conversation with them, had a conversation with their team, and I just feel like, yeah, you still need to grow. You still have more understanding that you need to understand the music business, not just the music. Like, a lot of people think like you can just go in and record a project and then just hand it to one of us and we're gonna make you a millionaire. We're gonna make you a superstar. And that's just not realistic. Like,
So Tuo, how do you balance your roster of artists? How do you balance your existing roster and then still find talent and keep everyone happy at the same time?
It goes back to what Steve-O say, relationships is key. So it's like when you're an A&R, you really got to get under the hood and have these relationships with the artists. So you can't just be appointed to an artist and just be like, this your artist, and not have a relationship with them in management, because it's way more personal than the music. It's like you're damn near a counselor, a brother, everything to these artists, you know what I mean? When you really get under the hood and dig in, so it becomes more personal. It may be some days, I fight with artists and I don't talk to them for a couple of weeks, and then we talk back. It's like a family atmosphere, and it's cool. But that's what it's about when you're really passionate about what you do. So when there's no passion there, you're there for the check. So for me, it's nothing but passion, you know what I mean? I've been blessed to be able to have had success before I ever became an A&R. So it's like, this is just pure passion. So that relationship value is everything.
Kifa, do you want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, I think for me it's more so like, it's a misconception of thinking that a lot of times like the A&R is gonna make the artist. I feel like with artists, a lot of it starts with the team around the artist, like people around the artist that help bring the vision to life, like that we're a platform to help, you know what I'm saying, you reach the masses, but it ultimately starts with everybody around you, and just the vision of the whole process. Like, no artist is gonna come into the game, I mean, some do come into the game with nothing, because now it's so easy to make music that most artists now just make music and just think that like, oh, because I made a song, I can come in and, go overnight, kind of like Ross said. But ideally, it really starts with who you have around you, and just the people that help you bring the vision to life. Like, I feel like it starts with the team around the artist first before it even gets to the A&R.
So I have a question for you, Zoe, as the one woman on the panel today. So I think your company has done a great job with hiring and promoting women, and you have quite a few women on your A&R team as well. Now, with all of the challenges being a woman in such a male-dominated industry, how do you think we can do better about moving us up into key roles, making sure that we're present, and also, do you think your company is unique in that you have a female chairman running it?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it is for sure male-dominated industry. Most of the time I go out and I'm in the studio and I'm in different rooms and I'm scouting talent, I'm usually the only girl. And I'm okay with that because sometimes you have to turn something that people consider negative into something that's positive. So I'm thinking, you know, as a woman, sometimes it's easier for me to talk to my male artists and be like, hey, bro, I don't really like this outfit, so maybe like you could change it, you know? Like it's just, you know, you gotta turn the negative into a positive. And where I work at Epic Records, we're fortunate to have like the only female chairman. So working under the direction of Sylvia Rohn is amazing, you know what I mean? I've seen her, you know what I mean? I've actually known Sylvia, known of her and had a close relationship with her for maybe like 15 years. And as long as I've seen Sylvia, I've seen her fight, you know what I mean? Fight for everything, fight for her respect, fight to get where she is. So one thing I thought to myself, like, man, this lady's the #1 lady in the game and she's still fighting every single day. So what makes me think that I don't have to fight, you know what I mean? So I learned to love the fight and just to be relentless, to do what I gotta do, knock down all doors, and whatever is a negative, turn it into a positive. Because right now the future is female, you know?
Okay.
So I think it's important to also note that, you know, I think most of the women in the business have had men help them as well because, you know, there aren't a lot of women yet in the business, so we definitely need the help of the guys. So what do y'all think needs to be done to get more women involved or have more women in A&R positions or just see more women in the studios?
I mean, as for me, like I have the pleasure working under you, Nicole. You're definitely a woman who brought yourself up in this industry, and I saw you make yourself into the woman that you are today, and I believe that's amazing. Like also working along Bearline. Bearline is another young A&R. She got signed to Interscope this year as an A&R. She signed The Baby. She just signed Justin Rory. She just signed A. Marie. Like, and it's just showing like women are in this industry actually showing what they can do. And as long as, I mean, me as far as being a male, like I support them. Like I have a great friend, Jen G. She works along Zoe at Epic. We talk every other day, even if it's just brainstorming or seeing how you're doing or checking the temperature, seeing if you and your project is going good. Because at the end of the day, as an A&R, it's about the relationships and it's about communicating with other A&Rs and other labels because we all go through stuff, but it's up to us, male or female, to come together to help bring ourselves through it.
Also, at my job at Epic Records, some of the females I work with, you know, we work with the gangster rappers. Like Jen, she's here, she A&Rs 21 Savage. There's another young lady, Erica, she A&Rs Rick Ross. So we're stepping into the room with like real boss men and, you know, heavy entourages, and we pushing through and we making it happen.
I think to build off of that, I think most importantly, like it's important for us as men to like uplift the women around us, you know? Like women aren't, yeah, for real. Like uplift the women around you and like the industry is so male dominant that it's easy for women to get taken advantage of, you know? And it's a real thing in this industry, you know? So I just feel like, you know, coming across with genuine intentions, but also like helping, you know, the women realize that like, you know, to maintain a level of professionalism that, you know, men are able to take you serious, you know, like you can't play into the, you know, like getting starry-eyed, you know. I just feel like it's really just knowing your purpose and knowing what you're there for and attacking that. Like the right people around you will, see that and take you to where you want to be, But ultimately, I just feel like we have to uplift the women around us, let you can do this, because I feel like with women, you guys go hard for anything you believe in, and you'll put everything on the line for it. Whereas like, man, we can pass things on to other people, but you guys, it's a passion thing for you guys, So it's like, I feel like it's like a woman taking care of her child, Like if it's something they really believe in with this music, that's an art, you're gonna help preserve it and like really fight for it. So I feel like it is important to have women around, but we just have to, keep building you guys up, and just letting you know, anything is possible.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, just in closing, based on where you all are at now, if you could go back in time to just like the very start of your careers, what advice would you give yourself then based on the information you have now?
I mean, I started in the game with two of my closest friends, like I said at the beginning, which is Mustard and YG. And I would just give anybody that's out there who wants to be an A&R, the advice is like, stop going out there and trying to find somebody who's moving and jump in their circle, but find an artist that you believe in and help them move, help push that. Because I sat up under YG and Mustard and Ty and watched them build something. And it's like, oh, they're doing this. Well, maybe I can help with this, or maybe I can do this. Okay, I know sound. All right, YG, let me do the sound for your shows. Let me do the other things that I can do to help the team grow. And I feel like everybody should try to do that.
And then Steve, if you could answer, and then I think we may have to go to Q&A after.
Okay. Well, for me, the way I started, I wouldn't change anything. I hustled and earned everything that I got. And the advice I give myself is just keep learning and keep focusing on the things that you want to accomplish, because everything that I've endured and learned till today kind of gave me my character and taught me integrity. And when we come into rooms like this and meet people that are artists and managers and people that are aspiring in the music business, I do feel a responsibility to give those people integrity with being honest and telling the truth. And it ain't about like, people always said to me, oh, you're too busy to do this, or don't throw my CD away. It's like, no, I really work hard to ensure that if you say something to me or you connect with me, I'm gonna give you my contact. I'm gonna take your music, your record, and I'm gonna listen to it. Now, what happens after that, I can't control, but the integrity of just letting someone know that you actually acknowledge them, I think has brought me very far. And to give myself advice to go back that far, I would just stay away, because that's given me all my success to now.
Amazing advice, Steve. So I think we are ready to go to our Q&A section.
Hello, hey guys. First of all, thank you guys for all the gems and the keys of knowledge. My name is Zeta. I'm a songwriter. And I was wondering, when you guys are looking for songwriters, or when you're listening to music for songwriters, what is like the first things you guys like to hear? Or what's the first thing that grab your attention when you decide, okay, this is a songwriter I can work with, or this is somebody with potential who I can bring in the studio with this artist or that artist?
I mean, for me, as far as it goes for songwriters, like I believe, like, you can write music, and that's dope. But you also have to understand like who you're writing the music for. And when I hate to just go get records from a songwriter and tell my artist like, oh, this is a fire record, you should cut it. That's not what it is about. That's not the creative process that I'm into. Like, I like to bring a songwriter in with my artist, let them have a conversation so the songwriter understands the artist and what the artist is trying to get off their chest. And so when you go in and write a song, you're not just writing it for yourself or writing it because this is catchy, but you're writing a song that goes along with this artist and this artist project and helps tell the artist story. Because you guys can be going through two totally different things in your life. You could be having a great day, and an artist could have just broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. But how would you know if you never asked those questions to the artist?
No, I'm saying as A&Rs, what do you guys look for when listening to music from songwriters?
For me, sorry to cut you off, bro.
Go ahead.
For me, real quick, by me being a creative, it's all about the song structure, right? So I'm gonna know if you understand how to make a song by the song structure. Anybody can write a record, but if you don't understand the structure of a song, like what's a pre-hook, what's a hook, what's the setup of the song, sometimes every song doesn't mean it has to lead with a hook. Like, that's super important. So if it feels right and if it's right, then the shit is just right.
Thank you. So let's move on to the next question.
All right. So as an A&R, what do you find more important?
Can you speak closer into the mic so we can all
As
hear
an
you?
A&R, what do you find more important? Is it the marketability or is it the talent?
Kifa, do you want to?
Man, the way you talking on that mic, man, I want to say the first thing got to sound important is confidence. It starts with confidence. So if you ain't got confidence, you ain't got nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's confidence.
I think it starts with the talent. I mean, the right people can market anything. You know what I'm saying? I could sell you a pen that says nothing on it, but it starts with the talent first, ultimately, like, and the passion behind it too. You gotta be passionate, and it'll display through your music.
Yeah, talent is super important. Of course, that's the first thing I feel like we're all looking for, is to find a truly talented person. But, you know, consistency and persistency sometimes will outwin talent.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Savan. Thank you guys. You guys are really inspiring. I have a question. So either for artists or someone like myself who's managing an artist, what is the appropriate way to reach out to you guys? And what are the steps to take? Because I know you said, you know, don't send me a DM with a record. What's the best way to get your attention, and how do we do that?
Thank you, Steve. Do you want to take that one?
Do some work. Have the work speak for itself. I mean, I'm always down to get a recommendation from friends or my network, but what really impresses me is the work you do. Whether it be a great song that a lot of people talk about or want to share and be like, did you hear this? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? Or is there something out in the marketplace that you're doing that's making it come back to me? You know what I mean? And that always speaks to me in such a way, because I was like, man, without no record company, without no A&R, without any real infrastructure from an institution, what you're doing, that would impress me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
What's going on, y'all? My name is J.R. Jones. I'm an artist. First and foremost, thank y'all for doing this panel, man. I'm a bilingual artist that writes, produces, and mixes all my own music. I've released 80 songs over the past year. I've worked and developed my fan base. I've zeroed in on my demographic. I direct and edit all my own music videos, and I put over 30 grand into my own career. Yet I understand the importance of relationships. I feel like as an artist, I know I have the work ethic and talent to get to where I'm going, but lack the resources and relationships. How do I go about building relationships with A&Rs like yourselves, and what's the best way for me to put together a team? I've moved around a lot, so that's my question.
I mean, like, I'm gonna just start it off by saying, like, everything you said was dope, but there was a lot of eyes and eyes and eyes. Like, you're looking for credit for something that you haven't done yet. Like, you've made 80 songs, you put them out. That's incredible, dope. Continue to make music and put it out. But you also should go out and find a team. Actually go out and talk to managers, actually go out to talk to booking agents, actually talk to marketing people, PRs, and see what somebody can bring to you. What can they help you and be part of your team and do, not just you do it all by yourself, because there's no team that just has an eye.
Right, and I guess that's where I'm coming from, in the sense of, how do I do that and not look like every other artist?
So
you just gotta talk to people.
So
Kifa, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think to go off of what Ra was just saying, is you said you do a lot of other things as well, produce, engineer. I think utilizing those more so than just focusing on your artistry will get you in more rooms than just trying to get your records heard. Like, sure. I tell a lot of producers and artists, learn how to engineer yourself, because I could get you in more rooms that way than me telling another artist, yo, this is a dope artist, you should work with him, you know? Yeah. So it's not always about, like, the fastest way there. You know, sometimes you gotta take the stairs, but, you know, you're gonna learn a lot in the process as well, you know, seeing how these other artists perform and react around you. So I think just utilizing your other talents you said you have to get yourself in the rooms.
Appreciate that.
Great advice, thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Oso Latte. I'm from Marietta, Arkansas. I came a long way. You hear me? You hear me? It's all profit. I came from nothing. It's all profit. So here's my question. I have a homeboy who actually works for Def Jam, and he was like just being transparent with me. He was letting me know that these days it's more so about the numbers. So my question is that fact? Because at the end of the day, the next Kendrick Lamar, the next Eminem, the next Lil Wayne, he in here, he right here. What's the best way? What's the best way for me to market lyricism in a game that's changing so far, you know, towards the mumble rap or the, you know, what have you? What's the best way for me to really get some lyricism noticed?
It's an excellent question, although I personally feel like we're still about the gut and our heart and our passion. And I hate when people have the perception that the industry is going all just to numbers with no heart, but I'll let our panelists answer the question.
I mean, none of it's really true. I mean, there's departments that do that. There's us and there's research people. Research people look at numbers, we look at music. So there ain't no right or wrong answer, but if you want to cover all bases, do it all. And what I would tell you is if you have a craft that's built on lyricism, then try to be the best lyricist. And be yourself and really mold that, because that's what's going to get you discovered. That's what's going to make you stand out. That's what's going to get you sought. So for me, I would say do that. That would be my advice to you, because there's no one way, right way or wrong way to get yourself to another level. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Right. First off, I want to start out by saying I'm from Philly. My name is France. I'm the type of boy, I moved out here to pursue my dreams. I'm the type of boy, I got a strong work ethic. I go hard, I direct my own music videos. I brought my producer here with me. But there's only so much I could do independently. I'm gonna be real, right now, I got eviction notice on my door, and if I don't get an opportunity this week, then I'm gonna have to go back to the hood. And I can't go back to the hood. I got too much talent, too much of opportunity, too much of, work ethic for that. But I know I don't look like what I'm going through.
Not to cut you off, but so we can get to as many questions as possible. What is the
This is my question. I know I don't look like what I'm going through, but that's what you gotta do sometimes as an artist. You gotta put the bullshit aside and you gotta put a mask on and keep on pushing through. And that's what I'm doing right now. I spent my last to come here. So my question to you guys is, how do I get my music into your hands and Diddy's hands? Because I'm here.
Easy, just give it to us. No, seriously, that'd be the easiest way if you give it to us, and then we can, we'll take it.
Don't be scared, bro. Don't be scared. Give it to him.
That's right.
But again, it's like events like this is the first step. It's about networking and finding ways to build new relationships with different people. And for that, again, everything that we said tonight kind of speaks to that. And there's no right or wrong way to go about it. It's go after what you believe in, network with people, sharpen your craft, and keep building your infrastructure.
Zoe, do you have anything to add?
I mean, like, for you to get your music heard, you got to hang out in music environments. So, if you're in the studio, kind of walk around, see who else is there, talk to some other people, go to meet and greets, go to showcases, you know what I mean? Put yourself in music environments that you're going to spot an A&R or another music executive that you can probably have a conversation with and relate to. If you catch me anywhere, I'm going to listen. Like, you got me. I feel for the people. I love when people come up to me and, you ask me to listen to their music. I'm with it.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Robert Sanchez, and I'm working with a rapper right now, and her name is Breathe the Dawn. And I've always wanted to have my own record label. So I wanted to see from someone who has nothing and just starting off, how does someone start? I guess.
How does someone start to create their own record label?
I guess how do I sign her, or because she's someone that I really do believe in. So I kind of want to sign her, but I'm not really know.
Get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer? Okay.
That's good advice. Zoe, what were you going to say?
When you're off to a great start, you already have an artist. And a lot of people want to start a label and don't have an artist. So if it's an artist that you love and an artist that you believe in, just start with that one.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how y'all doing tonight? This mic a little too tall for me, but it's okay. I guess I just have a quick question. First of all, my name's Gina. I go by Gina Nicole. And I just have a quick question really about artist development. I read a lot, and a lot of times I know people can say things about the industry and it's not true. But I wonder about, I know a lot of times labels like to look for people who already have popping numbers, a popping fan base, different things that's already going on for them. But I wanted to know, is that true? Like, would you necessarily believe in that?
Definitely not true. An artist I can stand by is Aaron Ray. I signed him at Interscope about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I signed Aaron Ray, he had one EP out that had 5 songs on it. He had 20,000 followers on Instagram, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
Twitter, he might had 10,000 followers.
Okay.
And it was just on him and me taking my gut and believing in him and understanding him and trying to fight for him and his music and developing him to be where he's at today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm living proof to tell you that labels still develop artists.
Okay, that's great news. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brianna Dorsey. I just have a quick question because I actually just got an opportunity to start doing some stuff for Def Jam and kind of working with someone that does do A&R on the executive side. And like, I go to Texas State, I graduated May, so I'm like trying to help them push and expand out in Texas because, you know, the industry hub really isn't out there. So I just wanted to know, like, for somebody like me who wants to work at a label like Def Jam and get on that entry level and do the floor work and go get the coffee and go find a producer or whatever, how do you get a position like that?
It's a great question.
Go to the website.
Zoe?
I mean, the first step, you go to the website and apply. You know what I mean? That's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm. I have, but you know, they don't be
letting me know. Shot.
Mm-hmm. So,
Steve?
I mean, you got to hustle it up. You got to get out, meet somebody, shake somebody's hand, fly up, see them. I mean, my first internship, when I worked for Nicole at Star Trek, I showed up every day at 888 7th Avenue until she actually called me back. And in addition to that, I had at that time faxed out my resume to 80 different people. And once I was bombarding her fax machine with my resume, she called me back, and that's how I got my first internship. So it's really about hustle and being persistent and really finding a way to get in wherever you fit in at.
But the fact that you're here is a great start. You're being relentless, and that's the first step.
Thank you.
So I think we have time for one more question.
Hi. Hi, my name is Aaliyah Monet, and I just wanted to ask you guys, has it ever been a struggle for you to get someone to see your vision? And if so, like, how do you get people to believe in your vision?
I think it just has to be something you're passionate about. It comes down to passion and how much you believe in something. That'll determine how far you go for anything. So if it's something you're passionate in, like I said earlier, if the people around you who are giving you an opportunity believe in you, then they'll give you the chance. But it starts with you and how hard you're willing to fight for what you want.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think this concludes our A&R panel. So let's give it up for all the panelists today.